May 13th, 1985, 40 years ago. It is such an important moment for us to be here together, to share space together, to honor what happened right here on May 13th, 1985. We want to ask folks, I know our setup is a little different than usual. We're normally in the streets, and there will still be time for that. But we would love it if people could come join us at the foot of the stage, please. Although that will mess up the live stream. Try to get as close to the edge of it. We want to feel y'all with us. And I'm very excited to welcome to the mic Dr. Walter Palmer, who really doesn't need any introduction, but when we talk about our organizing heroes, when we talk about the folks who have sold so much into our community, who have such an important role in Move Story, Dr. Walter Palmer is one of those people.
Thanks so much, Crystal. Thank you, thank you. And thank you so much for going forward, even though it's raining out here. When you're fighting for your rights, remember, there should be nothing that impedes you. You should be motivated by any obstacle that gets in your way. Because remember, freedom is not free. And if you want to be free, you have to understand what freedom is. Freedom is the ability to make choices, knowing what the consequence of the choice is before you make it. The more choices you have, the freer you are. And you must understand that it's not free, there's a price to pay, and you have to protect it for the rest of your life. What MOVE did in reaction to the police action in 1978 was they chose to go to jail rather than allow themselves to be supposedly free in the street and living out a lie. And there are lessons to learn. I started off, my involvement in MOVE goes back to the 1960s. Sometime around 1965, circa 70, I meet Bob Africa. Bob talks a lot about this place called, the Africa group, the Africa movement. I'm involved in the Black Power movement. I'm involved in the Civil Rights movement. I'm involved with dealing with gangs in Philadelphia, right? But I was fascinated by trying to hear this story. He takes me down to Pearl Street. He introduces me to John Africa. We sit on the curb, we sit in the yard, and we talk about what their concept is. Whether you like MOVE or not, whether you like the way they've lived, their lifestyle, and everybody didn't. Their neighbors were opposed to them. People across the city were opposed to them. Government officials were opposed to them. And the police were certainly opposed to them. They have a right to exist. And they have the right to have their own belief system. And when you fight, you're not fighting for them, you're fighting for yourself. When you fail to fight for other people's right to exist, you may be next. That's the lesson out of Auschwitz. That's the lesson out of Nazi Germany. First, there was the Jews, and then it was the Gypsies, and then it was the crippled, and then it was the colors, then it was the Catholics. And before it was all over, there was nobody left. And it doesn't really matter who is sitting at the top. Remember, that person is suspect. No one should be able to control our lives.
The lives of 11 people, 5 children and 6 adults, were taken at 6221 Osage Avenue on May 13th, 1985. As we gather in this place, we must say their names. When I say their names, we will take a moment of silence for each life and say Ibaye, which means rest in peace in Yoruba. Ibaye. The children whose lives should have been protected. Tree Africa, 14, Ibaye. Netta Africa, 12 years old, Ibaye. Delisha Africa, 13 years old, Ibaye. Little Phil Africa, 12 years old, Ibaye. Tomaso Africa, 9 years old. Ibaye. The adults whose lives should have been respected. Rhonda Africa, Ibaye. Teresa Africa, Ibaye. Frank Africa, Ibaye. Raymond Africa, Ibaye. Conrad Africa, Ibaye. And John Africa, Ibaye. The two survivors of this horrific act of state terrorism. A child move member, Birdie Africa, escaped with 3rd-degree burns, but also lost his mother, Rhonda, in the fire. He transitioned in 2013. Birdie Africa, Ibaye. And our sister and continued freedom fighter, Ramona Africa, who was incarcerated for 7 years after the bombing on charges of conspiracy to commit riot and arson. The only person in this whole incident who spent time in prison. Ramona Africa, Ibaye. Ramona continues to survive.
At this time, 5:27 p.m. on May 13th, 1985, Philadelphia police, firefighters, and elected officials, including the city's first black mayor, Wilson Goode, dropped a bomb on 13 members of the MOVE organization living at 6221 Osage Avenue. The violent assault by the city of Philadelphia that escalated to the bombing of MOVE headquarters, in fact, began a whole day before, on Sunday, May 12, 1985, which was also Mother's Day. This day was the start of a 2-day-long attack on the MOVE organization. This was no mistake. Police Commissioner Gregor Sambor believed Mother's Day was the best day to launch an assault on MOVE. He anticipated that the black residents of Osage Avenue would leave, go to church, go visit their relatives, and not return home. Sambor planned to use this day of reverence to attack MOVE in secret without anyone to bear witness.
Our job is to wake people up to the entire murder that happened there. And the water supply that was happening there, just like in Palestine when they dropped that C4 explosive and it went into the drains. What do you think we were drinking? What are they drinking in Palestine? Okay? You tie all this stuff in here together. Also, what he did, and I'm talking about Leon Williams, I'm talking about May 13th, and he had the insight to bring a warrant to arrest the people, the government, for the murders of our family. He found a way, and it's on the books now, and you can bypass the DA. He did that. And if he had the support of the media, if he had the support of us, the people, who understood that this black man put his life on the line, put his family on the line to go up against this government. We talk about May 13th and what people do and what people can do. I don't want to stand up here any longer because, Delbert Africa's daughter, the brother that you seen beaten, stoned, where they tried to kill him before all of us, but God knows the ancestors. Long live John Africa, and long live the power to pull things together. The belief pulled Delbert through it. His eyeball, people don't know, was completely out his head. Young Chuck Africa was beaten so bad that his nuts was the size of grapefruits. They beat them brothers, they maimed them brothers. Janet Africa, they stomped on the foot of hers and crushed the bones in her foot. Her foot is still messed up to this day. Back to Yvonne Orr, the daughter of Delbert Africa. She couldn't be here today, but she asked me to speak on her behalf. And I speak proudly on behalf of Yvonne Orr, and whose father was Delbert Orr, whose sister was Delisha Africa, and she loved each and every last person. Where she go at, she carries this message. I could say a whole lot, but what you witnessing here today is the downfall of this motherfucker. You're watching the downfall of this motherfucker. I'm saying when they dropped that bomb exploded around the world. It only didn't do what it did here. It woke people up, and that bomb is still exploding to the fact that children did something that nobody else could do. People say, what about the children? It was children who got this sign put up. The Jubilee School. The teacher, okay, that CRS stuff is coming in, can't remember. Who is Carol Fallon, and the teacher, and who taught them about MOVE. The children wanted to come and find, and they searched, and they did more, and she encouraged it. They did something that no one else could do. They got that sign up. And when they got it, all the horrors and stuff that went with that of getting these, I think the oldest child might have been 12 at that time. To get this sign done, 2 years it took them. But the thing is, they never gave up. They never gave up. And when they got the signatures and everything they needed to put this sign up, when they introduced what it was that they wanted on that sign, City Council said, oh no, we're going to change the word. And they said, oh no, the hell you ain't. That's my no, the hell you ain't. But they said, oh no, you ain't. You know, they did it. This is the power. This is the power that you and everybody out in that listening audience have. You have that same power that those children had today at community college. I got there late, and but they were at the point where one of the children from the Jubilee School, who is now a college student. You say, what are the children doing? What can we do? They showed you, because this young brother, you would think the 12-year-olds and the youngers, and by this time, might have forgotten. It was a thing in their life that happened for a minute. This brother proudly sat on the stage and told the story of who he is and what he is doing now. Not what he did yesterday, period, but it's what he have continued to do. These motherfuckers dropped a bomb, but God knows John Africa bomb was far more powerful than anything these motherfuckers could do. Long live revolution. Long live John Africa. Long live the power that pull all things together despite the separation these motherfuckers tried to do to us.